Alright everyone, we got news on the Steel Ball Run anime, and there is a lot to talk about despite what we actually got. But honestly, if there wasn't too much quantity, I can for sure say that the quality was up to par. In the JoJo Steel Ball Run announcement event, first off, we got a roughly minute-long teaser trailer of Steel Ball Run. Images of Johnny, Gyro, Lucy, Steven Steele, and Diego. And after a 40-minute interview section, we got the reveal that Steel Ball Run would be releasing in 2026. We don't have an exact month, but it's coming out next year. And later on in the video, I will be addressing the issues that some people face because, let's just say, some people don't like what's going on in the Steel Ball Run anime, and I do think I can explain it pretty well that it's honestly not a big deal and that people are kind of overreacting. But the first thing I do want to talk about is the music in the background of the teaser trailer, since I do think it went a bit unmentioned by the mass crowd. This music is really nice. It's playing in the background right now, in fact. I made sure to get talented sound engineers in the Jojodoss company to remake the music, and that's why it sounds so pristine in this video. But yeah, whether this is just some generic Steel Ball Run music or hey, maybe even Johnny's theme, I really do like the vibe of it. I don't really know anything about music, that's why I hired sound engineers in the first place. So I can't really say much, but it is quite the earworm. I do think it's Johnny's theme though. It definitely gives me the same vibes as the main Joestar theme songs of previous parts. It gets me excited for what other themes could be in the anime, and it also makes me wonder if Gyro is also going to have some sort of remixed Joestar-like theme, or maybe they can even go back to the Zeppeli themes for inspiration, who knows. And speaking of other JoJo characters, let's talk about them. So we already had PNGs of Johnny and Gyro for quite a long time, but now we have 3 more characters added to the PNG roster. We've got Lucy Steele, Steven Steele, and Diego Brando. And yeah, the trailer only really focuses on these 5 characters. We don't really see any of the other notable Steel Ball Run characters like Soundman or Mountain Tim or Poco Loco. We get this really small shot of what may be Hot Pants, but yeah, the teaser definitely just wanted to focus on these 5 characters, since one of them is pretty much in frame for the entire teaser, except the wide shots of the actual race themselves. But yeah, like all of it is pretty much just these 5 characters. No Valentine either, which is also a bit surprising. It makes me believe that they're gonna do some really big stuff because Funny Valentine is quite the important character, obviously. But anyway, I do really like these designs. I've seen people say that Johnny looks a little weird in the trailer, but you guys have to remember that this is the first panel of Johnny that we ever saw. He did look kind of strange in the manga at first, so the anime emulating this isn't that bad. But another thing is that I do think the anime may not be up to expectations because you have to remember, this is animated after all. I think once we actually see the first episode, we're going to see Johnny in action, and I do think it's going to look really nice, especially when we get to the fights. And that's not even considering all of the future fights that we're going to have involving Johnny. Like, it's going to be amazing. You gotta trust these guys. Now on to Gyro. I have seen people complain about some of the color choices, maybe with Gyro's eyes being blue instead of green. And yeah, I honestly would prefer the green, but I don't really mind the blue eyes. The only issue that really comes up is that like all of these characters end up being blonde with blue eyes, so seeing some variation would be nice. But I mean, blue eyes, 2 eyes, red eyes, something. It's not like it's gonna matter that much in the first place when we're going to see amazing color shifts like this one. Like seriously, this looks amazing, and I'm really excited for the color shifts that are gonna be happening in Steel Ball Run. Diego Brando is probably the character I have the least amount to talk about, just because I have a lot to say about these 2 specifically. But either way, Diego is also looking really good in this teaser. This shot is incredibly beautiful. I have seen some people, again, like with Johnny, talking about it looking off, and I really just think it's once again an animated medium, so the still frames aren't going to look crazy. And also the competition here is Hirohiko Araki's masterpieces of artwork. For what they're trying to emulate, this anime art really turns out amazing. I've also seen people comment on these pants because it does look pretty funny in the PNG they gave us. Like, it just looks like he's hiding something sinister in his pockets. Perhaps the like button, so you should all like this video. But seriously, these kind of pants are just what horse jockeys wear. Like, you could look it up. All that extra width at the top is for comfort and to signal to the horse on like specific actions, like you know, all the horse stuff that's involved. Because, you know, Steel Ball Run, there's a lot of focus on horses. Diego is a horse jockey, so is Johnny, so that kind of stuff is important. Hey, the colors are virtually the exact same as what we have in the manga, for Diego at least. And there's some slight differences, but it's probably just trying to get those colors to look better when animated, so I think it does work out in the end. Lucy Steele looks like a 14-year-old girl, which should be expected, right guys? I do think that they did show off what Lucy Steele looked like at the very start of the manga pretty well, down to the clothes as well, honestly. Lucy's iconic look that we all think about is definitely an evolution that happens later on, since that's when she really turns into a major character. But we do have to remember that Lucy Steele, like Johnny, looked like this at the start of Steel Ball Run. And yeah, this anime design is definitely the anime version of the old manga design. It makes me interested to see when and where we're gonna see shifts in her design, or maybe they'll even keep this kind of look the entire time. Not sure how I'd feel about that, but I mean, it looks good. I really like to see the evolution of art throughout the part, since the JoJo anime has done that for a lot of characters in the past, such as Jolene going from like a regular looking girl to the daughter of Jotaro Kujo, if you get what I'm trying to say here. Also, Iggy went from a dog to a guy in a dog's body. So hey, maybe Lucy goes from like this doll-like design to someone more similar to the other characters. And we're saving the best for last. Steven Steele looks incredible. His design is probably the most similar from manga to anime out of the whole cast. Like, it genuinely just looks like they took him from the manga and shoved him into the anime. But the most exciting thing about Steven Steele is the voice actor. Muhammad Avdal's voice actor, Kenta Miyake, reappears as Steven Steele. And the way he was screaming both in the trailer and during the interview, I already know he's going to be a hype character when the anime comes out. He really displayed a lot, and honestly, there's probably like 10 characters I was more interested in when adapting Steel Ball Run to the anime. But after seeing, or well, hearing Steven Steele's voice in just the teaser, it's honestly my number one. I gotta hear and see a lot of Steven Steele when the anime comes out. This is incredible stuff. But that's not to say that the other voice actors are worse. They're all also very incredible. Shogo Sakata, Resident Maid, is voicing Johnny Joestar. He's famous for his role as Aki from Chainsaw Man, but what intrigues me is that he's going to voice the goat Saku Chitose from Chitose is in the Ramune bottle. How did Johnny get in the Ramune bottle? What's he doing in there? Guess we're gonna find out next anime season, since that is looking to be the best anime coming out in fall 2025. Anyway, Gyro is being voiced by Yohei Azakami. He hasn't had any insanely notable roles to the level that Johnny's voice actor did. This does seem to be his first voice acting job for a character as big as Gyro Zappelli. But he did voice Hashimoto from Classroom of the Elite, and once again, you know, expect peak fiction, or well, peak voice acting from this guy. He also voiced Sale in Golden Wind, which is pretty random, but I guess Sale and Gyro are the same person. I do think it's really nice that the voice actors of Johnny and Gyro are fairly new to playing these big roles, so hopefully they do really well. I know people are really sad to see that the voice actors from the JoJo games aren't voicing them in the anime, but trust, these new guys are going to do really good. And speaking of really good voice actors, or well, actresses in this case, Lucy Steele is being voiced by Rei Takahashi, who I'm sure has voiced someone that you know already. There's a giant list of characters on screen that she has voiced, and honestly, yeah, Lucy fits the vibe of character that she's used to voicing, so I don't think there's gonna be any issues there. Maybe just people thinking she sounds too much like another notable character, but honestly, that's fine. Okay, so obviously these are all goated voice actors, and that includes Taiko Ishikawa, who is the voice of Diego. His most notable role is playing the main character of Bunny Girl Senpai. You know, an amazing anime. Playing the main character of Shield Hero is also a perk. So yeah, I know a lot of people really wanted the original Dio voice for Diego, but yeah, I am glad that they chose a different voice. I really don't think Dio's voice really fits a character like Diego. Like, they're pretty fundamentally different characters, even if, you know, Diego's just an alternate universe Dio. Like, they do like act pretty different. But there is another character in the series of Steel Ball Run who I can totally see Dio having the voice of. If you know, you know, kind of stuff. Okay, so now that we got the general info out of the way, I did kind of hint it throughout this video, but there have been a couple negative comments on the whole event. I did say that it is unfortunate that we kind of got the bare minimum out of the event, since it really was just a teaser, an interview, and then the release date. I did see a lot of people think that we would get an answer to whether or not Steel Ball Run would have batch releases or not. But I don't know, it does feel like something strange to announce in an actual event. Something like saying their batch releases or not does seem like something they'd put in a Twitter post rather than an actual event like this. As for the animation itself, I have said a couple times throughout this video that this kind of is just a teaser. Like, all of these scenes are in episode 1, maybe episode 2. Don't expect the rest of the anime to look exactly like this. I mean, we have arcs like True Man's World and D4C. It's not going to look like this all the time. And honestly, what we already have seen isn't bad at all. People are just too used to seeing fan art that does look incredible. But once again, this is animation. It's not just a drawing, it's a moving drawing. So it's going to look a bit choppy, especially when we've got an amazing story coming up ahead of us. There are some moments that may look worse, but there's going to be way more that looks better.